All right, we are here for week 3, our feature matches. I'm here with Dan A, who's going to be filling in for Justin the rest of the way here for the league since his work schedule got mixed up. And he's going to be looking at it from Jordan's point of view, and I'm going to be looking at it from Johnny's point of view. So, I mentioned in the post earlier today on the server that this is our most stacked lineup that we've had yet for feature matches. So tonight should be a big treat. So I think I saw Jordan was playing a red black sacrifice deck the other day. Is that still the case based on
Definitely
his
still
run?
on it.
Okay.
And he's got a very aggressive curve here. He's going to lead out with the Horned Stormseeker most likely this turn.
Yeah,
As for the
that's
rest of his hand, we're seeing Giant Cindermaw or Conscripted Infantry on 3, a Power Stone Infusion, and then an Evo Wilds.
okay. Well, Johnny has just about the best hand you could have to combat that, featuring among other things Disfigure, Go for the Throat, and then an Obstinate Bailoff on 4. So this aggression might be able to be stopped here in Johnny's
It's a great
case.
response to that.
Yeah, so Johnny's going to go get himself a land here with the Bushwhack. No, he's not going to have a creature for a little bit. So, uh, you Johnny's running what looks to be a similar list to last week: base green, black with a bit of a blue splash. So, I think he might have only taken one loss since last week. So,
Oh,
interestingly
nice.
enough, Johnny's very self-critical. He got the win in the feature match last week, but once the video went up on YouTube, he messaged me. He said, "You know what? I didn't play well." He said, I want to come back and I want to play better. That was not up to my standards of excellence. And let me back in." So,
Man, I'm glad I, as his opponent, did not hear him say that. But good for
yeah.
him for holding himself to a high standard of play.
Yeah. I mean, winning is good, but, he watched it back and he said, you know what? I could play better. So here we are. I've talked about Johnny a lot about all of his accomplishments in the league here, but Jordan is somebody who is new to our league, but this is his 5th league, so he's played 4 up to now, and he's made top 8 in 3 of them. And the one he missed, it was only right at the last week. He finished just outside the top 8 in that other one. And I looked at the standings just before we came online here, and what do you know? He's in the top 8 again already, Jordan, at 10 and
Wow.
4. So a newcomer to our league just from earlier this year, but what a consistent performer in such a short period of time. So glad to have
Yeah,
him
every
on
time I've played
here as
against
well.
him, he's very competitive games. Anytime I've played against Jamtron.
Yeah. So
Can I add on the sequence that just happened? That's kind of interesting.
yeah.
I did some practicing with Jordan with Johnny's deck, and
Okay.
one of the things that Jordan identified is that Disfigure is a pretty key card.
Yeah.
And so Jordan actually changed his list to remove some of the 2 toughness creatures and put in cards like Infantry that end up 2-for-1ing against a Disfigure. So the choice to run out to like hold on to the Stoneseeker and stuff and Acrobat is like a deliberate result of playing around that card.
All right. So I think we had some insight there from Sawyer, who's friends with Jordan's, who they switched around his list a little bit, or switched around the order in which he's going to play his cards out to not get not allow Disfigure to hit a premium target is what we're saying here. And here comes Yosha Declares War, which was kind of like a lost dog in DMU, but now getting cast here
So good
looks
here.
looks quite scary on this board actually.
Card that goes from 0 to hero.
Yeah.
I think the second phase domes any target based on the number of artifacts you have.
I think it's just a creature, but you have to.
It's just a creature, yeah.
I do believe you have to tap the artifacts to do so, but yeah, like I said, a bit of a lost one in DMU. I think we were all scratching our heads wondering, what is this here for? And it seems to be quite at home in this format, which is rife with artifacts. So yeah, so a nice little bit of insight there about Jordan. I know Sawyer and Jordan, and there's a couple other of them that were on the runner-up team in the Set Wars League that do a lot of practicing together, and there's something out in the water there where they live because they're always finishing towards the top of the standings. So you know, conscious decisions to hold some of his more premium creatures here.
It's got a lot of tempo right now. The crown is something I never like seeing as on the opponent's side of the field.
Yeah, so he teamed up the Yosha Declares War there with the Look like the Flowstone infusion to get this Bailoth, but Bailoth is coming right back
It's coming.
to yeah.
Oh
So
man,
I believe the last chapter here just makes something a 4/4 until end of turn. So he
that's
can
right.
send his Ornithopter token up for 4 damage. But Johnny's at 24 right now, which is not what your black red, assertive deck wants to be seeing here on turn 6, 7.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Jan trying to get in the rest of the damage here as Johnny continues to accrue card and mana advantage.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to get a nice little attack in here. Clean 7 damage in here, or 8 here with the token. Johnny doesn't want to trade off this 1/1 because he could get a card off it with the crown. Um, so Jordan's down to no cards left in hand, but he's got the board here. But Johnny has some okay creatures here, and he has an Argothian Sprite. He has a Gurgling Anointer and a Shoot Down, so he can hold
Gosh.
he can hold down the board, and he can get rid of something with the Shoot Down. I don't see any targets now for it, but once something comes around, he'll do that.
I wonder if Johnny will like to swing here because I know from past experience that he is an exceptionally aggressive player.
I think that Johnny, when he needs to be aggressive, he'll be, exceptionally aggressive. But he can also slow it down. He knows when to slow it down. Is what I've known. I've mentioned it before. I've known him since I started playing limited Magic. He was already someone who'd been playing for some time at our local store. So I started playing around 2014. And I remember he was like our local, one of our F&M draft end bosses. If you wanted to go 3-0, you're going to have to beat him at some point in those 3 rounds, almost assuredly. So, yeah, so he knows what he's doing. He knows when to go. He knows when to put on the pedal. He knows when to pull it back. So, he sees the life totals are fairly close. Why not hit him for 3? He can
He
defend
recognizes
himself
that
here.
Jan Tron's, he's got no cards in hand, so what's the worst that could punish him?
Yeah, so like the only, Jordan can attack with the 3/2 and the 2/2, and it'll trade for one of Johnny's creatures, but Johnny feels pretty good here to attack. So here comes the 3/2 and the 2/2, like I was saying. So what was Jordan's draw there for the turn? Anything?
Just a land.
Okay,
We're still
so
swimming in lands here.
yeah, so Johnny too. I mean, he's down to a shoot down with no decent targets. So he's just going to take the 5 here and rethink next turn. So basically, the players have spent their cards, aside from the shoot down left in hand. Johnny does have this land that can make Power Stones, but unless he's looking to cast a 10-drop or something, I don't know if that's going to do that much. I mean, he has the Sprite now to sink mana into, so
Yeah.
that thing's going to be a threat, next turn. It's going to be a 4/4, then it's going to be a 6/6, and
And the rest of that text on it is not relevant either,
yeah.
considering that artifact creatures can't block it.
Yeah, like Clay Revenant is a creature you love to just throw in front of something and chump block every second turn, but that's not going to work against the Sprite. So he's going to have to find another way. Yeah, so he's going to send in here. He knows he's getting in for likely 4. I don't see why he wouldn't just pump it. Yeah, so Jordan has the choice here to trade off and give Johnny an extra card, which I probably does not want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he
so,
wisely elects to avoid that choice.
Yeah, and now with the 1 black mana left, he can actually move the equipment over to his anointer here, so he has a 3/3 back on defense.
And the added power is also relevant in the fact that no creatures in the yard that it can get. Okay.
I think his only creature in the graveyard was the Bailoth, but
Pretty good draw here with Research Desk. Let's see what he gets.
So let's him dig several cards deep here.
He does have the Mauser in hand, so he elects to spend the red mana first.
Yeah, so let's see what he grabs here. Okay, so it's just going to be a land, unfortunately, for Jordan here at 4 life. Yeah, so Jordan's facing all sorts of problems next turn with a 3/3 flyer, which I mean he could put his Ornithopter in front of for a turn, but the Sprite I think is the bigger issue, as he has 2 creatures that are eligible to block it, but once the Sprite becomes a 6/6, that's not going to work. All right, so
And
he's going to keep.
Johnny's holding on to shoot down, right?
Yeah, he has a shoot down here with
Yeah.
no good targets. Well, here's
Oh, there's something relevant.
there's one. There's one you don't see every day. This is what I love about this league. You just get these sprinkling of these cards from other sets, but like they're almost always like really good cards. The ones you see, you don't see. You see a few cards from the other sets, but usually like due to the synergy of Brothers War and artifact centric stuff, you don't see too many of the cards from the other packs make the cut. But this one's going to do it here.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
Jamtron can't swing out for 5 here, or else he leaves himself dead.
No, he can't really
That's
make much of any attacks here. He can attack with his menace creature, I guess, but the other attacks aren't looking very useful.
It is nice to have Bontu to be able to at least chump and get some drain out of the deal. If he manages to make it to the next round.
Okay. Well, certainly he'll have another turn. It just will be like how decimated will his board be? Yeah, so he is going to get him for 3 here. So he's gonna the Stone Seeker is going to be on chump blocking duty, as the Ornithopter token might be as well.
Yeah, probably to want to save
So
the Ornithopter to at least get a life out of it next
so
turn.
Johnny is taking a thought here. Yeah, he is actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
he says, "Let me get it. Let me start the turn with an extra card in my hand and save 3 damage here." So no targets for the Inorta to bring back, and well, like he did last week, Johnny has drawn a Wormcoil Engine at a very
Oh,
crucial point in the game. So he can pretty happily start off by equipping and attacking here.
Wormcoil Engine isn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a very bad thing for Jamtron to see, but at the very
Yeah,
least, you could chump it away with Bontu to prevent the life gain.
yeah, yeah. Those are possibilities. Yeah. All right. So yeah, the Stone Seeker's gonna jump here and see if let's see what Jordan decides to do about this 3/1 token coming in his way.
With a land in hand, and the Power Stone, he will be able to activate Bontu's effect twice. So I think he's maybe just thinking, can I get an extra drain out of the deal? And he decides that he does.
All right, so yeah, he's gonna go down to 1 here. He's gonna he wants to keep all his resources for Bantu. Bantu does scry as well, I believe. So he is losing his Power Stone in all of this though. All right, so here comes the Wormcoil Engine, complete with the alternate art from the recent Brawl event. And as if it needed to be scarier, it's got a +2. Oh, +2/+0 on it now.
Draw for the turn. There is gnawing vermin.
Yeah,
Doesn't
so
change much here, I think.
yeah, that's a little 1/1 rat. So you know, he actually yeah, he's gonna need to play Bantu here because Bantu is the only thing that can actually block the Argothian. And unlike the Theros gods, Bantu is not an enchantment, so he can't use a shoot down on it. In Theros, the gods are all
Is it?
enchantments, but
Oh,
this
right.
one
I'm
is
like,
not.
it's the Egyptian god. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's from the Amonkhet set. All right, so it looks like Jordan will survive the turn. Johnny's not going to gain any life here from the Wormcoil, but this is it's still problematic, I would say.
For sure. That's
He's finding temporary solutions to the problem, but let's see what else he can find next turn. Johnny's on a Thran Spider here, that 3-mana artifact. So you know he might just he'll probably play it, but he has probably a better mana sink with the sprite. Um,
4, 5,
let's
7, 8, 9 mana. Yeah, he won't be able to do both this turn if he
so it
does
looks like
that.
he's gonna equip and then
Okay,
attack
I like that.
all. So
Forces 3 blocks.
Bantu has to block the 4/4.
He also needs
He's
to
the only
activate
eligible.
now, or else he can't
Yeah, he
block
yeah he
the.
actually does have to activate before blocks, which is very awkward. Yeah, Bantu is a good card if you like when you have the right deck to use it, but it's also very finicky, right?
Yeah.
Like
Although, like,
you can't attack unless you've
ooh,
sacked already. So
overwhelming remorse at the top of his deck is a very nice card to see.
okay, so overwhelming remorse can get rid of worm coil.
Not sure how many creatures currently exist in his graveyard.
Yeah, once he draws it into hand, it'll show the cost reduction. Yeah, so he's gonna make sure his guy lives. His sprite lives. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
keep it
Bontu is
again.
indestructible, so that's he'll get to keep his Bontu. So Johnny's just drawing a land here, but honestly, with all the mana sinks he has, drawing a land is it's not that bad. He
No, especially
has
with Thran in hand.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll see if Jordan can make it through the next turn because he has to block both, and Bantu can't block right now. So okay,
He
so
will
yeah,
be able to.
yeah, so he can exile, so he can sack the vermin, and then he's gonna have to exile something.
Oh, he doesn't have no white. He doesn't have any white mana.
He has he milled a scrapwork cohort, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a
I
forest
wonder.
there, so presumably I don't know, that could be for a gold card or for an artifact that has a green cost somewhere in it.
I mean, there's so much fixing in this set just through the artifacts that maybe he's got a filter stone.
Yeah, most people are interested in playing those, especially if you can sack them for value later, like his deck seems to be able to.
He is choked on black mana here, unfortunately. He will be able to play Revenant, Overwhelming Remorse, and activate Bontu. He'll have to
He
choose two
won't
of
he won't be
them.
able to play Revenant this turn
Yeah.
because he has to exile one of the creatures and then sack the vermin to block the other one. So you know he's still got a turn unless Johnny draws a removal that kills an indestructible creature. But
I don't think he could have afforded to do that, could he? I guess he's choosing
okay,
to.
he's just gonna block and chump this turn. Oh, Johnny's drawing overwhelming remorse, which is gonna
Oh, oh.
promptly end the game here. So that was a good draw. Clean answer to Bontu. The overwhelming
I,
remorse can hit one of the creatures, but unfortunately the other one's gonna swing in for lethal. So he's got a worm coil, and then he's got a sprite who is inexplicably larger than the worm coil. All right. So yeah. So again, he gets to survive here, but without the Bontu, he's running out of options.
yeah, I'm not sure what he could see on the top of his deck here that would make him happy to see.
Yeah. So down comes the spider, and if I'm Johnny, it might even be worth it to just shoot down this Clay Revenant here, just to give him even fewer options. But he might also decide not to do that. All right, yeah. He says, well, if he does land
Oh,
something big and scary,
and he wisely chooses not to, since he did draw exactly something big and scary here with the Flesh Gorger. But he recognizes that it also cannot block the sprite, so he
yeah,
better not.
he's not going to show him one of the best cards in his deck. I mean, Johnny's probably at least looked through his pool, so it wouldn't be that big of a surprise. So yeah, like I mentioned at the outset, Johnny has only taken one loss since last week, so his deck is very very similar. Maybe added one or two cards, but other than that, he's running back the same strategy he had last week, which is black green
Johnny
with
currently sits at 8-6, and
movement.
JM currently
Yeah,
situated at 10-4.
yeah, 10 and 4. So like I said, right up there in the top 8 once again. That would be quite something to top 8 4 out of 5 of your first
Or 5.
leagues.
Wow,
I
that's very
mean, the
impressive.
75% is impressive. 80% would be even higher. So like I said, he's been a really consistent performer over a very short period of time. So but unfortunately this game couldn't find the right combination of cards to beat the sprite, and then Wormcoil came down to make it even more difficult. So doesn't look like Johnny has done any sideboarding yet. How's How's Jordan?
I think he's just
looking?
doing some reconnaissance, but I don't see any deck changes made thus far.
All right. Okay, so Johnny's looking. He's thinking about bringing Battlefield Butcher, which is a 1/4, just like and a Gixian Skullflare, a 2/3 that can grow. Maybe just some early blocking bodies here. Let's see what he's thinking about taking out though. Looks like he put in Moment of Defiance, the lifelink draw card trick.
Love that card.
Maybe he's gonna take out some of the more expensive cards, perhaps. Right, so he's taking out a shoot down there. He didn't see. He has 3, so he's going down to 2. It looks like. I mean, he doesn't have he didn't see too many premium targets there.
And no love for Yosha declares war over here because that is now out of the list.
Oh no! but it had so much promise. Oh, that's an interesting card that he had in his deck that he took out now, which is a Cling to Dust. That's kind of that's a tricky one. That's repeatable graveyard hate. So he's taken out.
That's from Theros, right?
Yeah, so he's taken out the Cling to Dust, and he's taken out 2 out of 3 shoot downs here. Yeah.
Yeah, he recognized that while he does have a lot of artifacts, not a lot of them manifest in the form of creature threats.
Yeah, so he had a bunch of artifacts, but they were all like little creatures or tokens, things that, Johnny would not care to spend removal on. And he didn't see, I believe, any Unearth. So he just, the Cling to Dust didn't seem as useful. The only Unearth card he saw was the Research Desk, which is not something you would care to
love that tech, though, for this league. Being able to get a Cling to Dust would be very nice for anyone's deck.
There are so many cool cards. Like, we saw Scarab Feast last week, which is, of a similar vein of type of card, which was, if you were there, you saw it. If not, right after the feature matches tonight, go to my YouTube channel.
They will speak of Scarab Feast's accomplishments for generations to come.
Go to the match from last week, Tony versus Chris, 37-minute mark, and enjoy if you haven't seen that yet. Yeah. Right, so what's Jordan's hand looking like here? Looks like he's had a couple early plays.
So in addition to whatever we see on top of this, we have an Overwhelming Remorse, a Phyrexian Flesh Gorger, the Junkyard Genius, which is the 3-mana guy that makes a Power Stone token. He drew a Cindermaw for the turn, and he also has a Conscripted Infantry.
So he has a bunch of
3-drops.
Yeah, he has lots to do. So he's going to be playing something every turn. We'll see if Johnny can keep up with it. His hand is a bit slow here. He has the Cradle Clear Cutter coming down next turn, that 1/3 that can tap for mana. He has an Epic Confrontation, Emergency Weld, and he has that 7-drop from Theros, the Nyxbloom Ancient, which is pretty good with all those mana sinks that we see in the set.
The guy that triples your mana?
Yep, Nyxbloom Ancient. Yeah. Imagine if you have an Argothian Sprite into play. You're just
that's right.
You are just making that guy very large. Yeah,
isn't that triple green?
Yeah, it's 4 green.
Oh man!
For a 5/5 elemental.
That card down.
Yeah, it triples all any permanent that taps for mana.
That is very funny in a set with Power Stones.
Yeah, except you can't use the Power Stones to cast the 7-drop. Right, so here's a Junkyard Genius. So Johnny might be prompted here to use his Epic Confrontation to get this Junkyard off the battlefield because it's just
so much
too
damage
threatening.
later.
Yeah, so Johnny's got 2 Emergency Welds in hand, which is not particularly useful here. And unfortunately, I believe it has to target something. So you can't even just cast it for a 1/1.
Can't just get the 1/1.
Yeah, so Johnny has correctly identified this is the creature he needs to kill. It's his only play for the turn, unfortunately.
How many lands are in Johnny's hand currently?
Yeah, he has 2 lands. So if the Clear Cutter lives, he could play his Nyxbloom in 2 turns.
Fortunately, it will probably then promptly get removed by this Overwhelming Remorse that he's holding onto here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jordan cares about this Clear Cutter here enough to remorse it. His 4/3 attacks right past it.
Yeah, I would be more interested in putting down one of these threats.
Yeah, like you said, he had a bunch of 3-drops, so it's just figuring out which one he wants to throw in here. So is there a reason to does he have something here to kill off the Clear Cutter, like a Disfigure effect or something, or is he just
No, I think he's just
okay.
It's like peanuts. It's like the risk to do it is I guess he sees it as like very minimal. And the upside is 1 damage, so it doesn't fall for the trick though.
So with all the 3-drops in hand, what do you think he's digging for here?
I think he I guess he's probably just thinking there's no reason not to get this information now to maybe inform whatever card I play right now, since I do have my land still in hand to play one of these 3 drops if I miss.
All right, so this go for the throat, Johnny is just trying to going to stop some of the bleeding here. This 4/3 is gonna stop attacking him.
Does he have a way to remove the Flesh Gorger that he's going to slam down for 7 next turn?
He does not. That go for the throat wouldn't have done it anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so that 7/5 is going to come down, and so even if Johnny taps out for his Nyx Bloom, that 7/5 will be able to attack right past it because it has Menace. So, yeah.
I like this to double attack it as well. And unfortunately, he's at the health total that makes removing this Flesh Gorger very difficult.
So, yeah, so he's actually dead on board here. So one big worm on Johnny's side in the first game, and another big. Just for the
Just
rub-ins.
added salt, yeah.
But, I mean, the 7 power menace was enough on its own, but why not? Why not just grab that 5/5 and attack him with it as well? So pretty devastating there. Right, so Johnny. Yeah, so Johnny's actually taking out his blue cards here. The blue cards he was playing was 2 copies of Take Flight. And he was playing a third path Savant as like a way to dump mana and the blue creature that you could draw 2 cards.
Probably realizes he needs to go a bit lower to the ground to deal with this aggressive start from Jantron.
Yeah, that was tough. And Johnny has actually, well, he has a lot of things that cost 2, but not a lot of them are creatures. So he, I don't know if he wants to put in more early plays, but he could use it. But he did try and do that a bit by adding in some of those more defensive type 3-drops. But
what's an example of one of them?
So he added in the Battlefield Butcher, the 1/4 Gixian Skullflayer, the 2/3.
Yeah.
Now he's thinking about the Burrowing Razor Maw, the 3 mana 4/2 that mills when it dies. He was actually running that main deck last week, but replaced it with
Seen that card much, but it seems absolutely serviceable, especially for a lot of these decks with unearth effects.
Yeah, it's just a 3 mana 4/2 is just nothing. It's just not very good. Like it's just
super exciting. Trades down.
Like the mill is whatever. It's fine. It's upside, but I don't know if it's enough upside to make a 3 mana 4/2 desirable. But in this matchup where he just needs to play creatures earlier, so he's running like pretty much most of his reasonable 2-drop creatures in those colors. I do see a Thraxodemon and 2 Gixian Infiltrators that he's not playing. I mean, those might be slightly more useful than the 3-drops, but he's on the play now, so he'll be under a bit less of pressure here.
Yeah, I like Thraxodemon quite a lot as far as a card that's great early and great late, whereas the 2 ones I feel like need a pretty dedicated sacrifice synergy to get much value.
Yeah, so Johnny just doesn't have a lot of things that it looks like he wants to sacrifice, so he's opted to not play the Thraxodemon at all. It was not in his starting list, and he didn't look like he considered bringing it in, and off we go to game 3 here. So each game was was ended by a worm. So we'll see what can break the symmetry here. So Johnny's
certainly the worms.
Yeah, so Johnny's got a removal heavy hand here. 2 go for the throats, overwhelming remorse. And our Nyx Bloom Ancient is back here, and he's got 3 lands. So let's try.
We have a fairly, land, good cards in hand, but not a lot to do with. We have a Mask, a Emergency Weld, a Fracture, a Sibling Rivalry, and the only creature in hand is a Mangleboard, which unfortunately requires JM Tron's only green source in the deck to cast. So it looks like we're just going to.
That's another fun card from another set. The Manglehorn destroys an artifact. Yeah.
I can understand why it's in his list.
Yeah, and it makes all the other artifacts come into play tapped, which is a lot of people's creatures base are artifacts. So
I love seeing these cards I've never heard of before.
Yeah, it's a 3 mana 2/2. When it enters, destroy an artifact, and your opponent's artifacts now enter the battlefield tapped.
That is Such a funny tech card.
And it was essentially unplayable in Amonkhet. Uh, unless you had if your opponent had there was a couple of premium artifacts like an Edifice of Authority, which was like a tapper sort of stopped a creature from attacking or blocking, but it was not an artifact set, so that card was just so out of place, just saw so little play. You sided it in once in a blue moon, and now it's just it's going to be
It's it's
if somebody has it, it's going to be one of the better cards they have access to. So
it's JM one of 2 green splashes, which I mean goes to show you
yes.
how playable it is.
Yeah, so while we're talking about the Manglehorn that couldn't be cast, Jordan just spent his mana getting back his mask, playing it again, cracking it again for a bigger creature, and these go for the throats are just completely stranded here. In
He has 2 in hand.
Johnny's hand. Yeah, he has 2 of them, and it just got nothing to do with them.
He will be able to answer these next couple of 2-drops, although it will not stop the. I mean, if he loses this Grove Dancer, he won't be able to deal with these artifact creatures anytime soon.
Yeah, well, he's pretty incentivized to trade off here to get the card. Okay, so Jordan's not gonna give him the chance to draw here.
Which makes sense considering he's picked up another copy of Sibling Rivalry, so I think he might just elect to get this pressure on the board and then do a large swing at next turn.
Yeah, so he's hitting the Stone Seeker here. If Johnny draws an untapped land, he can play his 5/5. All right, so here's a 5/5. I mean, the mana tripling. I mean the Grove Dancer does actually have an activated ability, but it's not like it mills a card.
It's a lot of lands to be built.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it mills a card, and then the Grove Dancer says whenever a land gets milled into your graveyard, you gain a life. So not blank text there.
See if JM likes to take a copy of this. Although he's likely okay. He's just going to go sack immediately.
Okay. Yeah. So he has. What are the other cards he has?
He picked up a copy of Overwhelming Remorse and this Battlefly Swarm this turn.
Okay, this is a good little creature here to not get attacked with, right? All right, so it looks like he has a bunch of mana. He can dump it all into milling to his heart's delight. He could mill as much as he pleases here.
Let's see if he picks up any Unearth.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going for.
Simply no reason not to do this.
Yeah, so he's just gonna mill here. All right, so
Auto Tapper taking his green mana first, lovely.
This is not the most exciting turn I've ever seen, but when you untap with Nyx Bloom Ancient and you have something with an activated ability, gosh darn it, you're going to use it. I mean, he doesn't have much else to do. He has a Go for the Throat in hand, but nothing worth killing with a Go for the Throat yet.
So Johnny elects to bluff having something that I guess requires 15 mana in hand.
Yeah. I mean, if he draws something that can that's really going to make use of all that mana, if he draws an Argothian Sprite, he's in business here.
I'm curious why he just didn't keep going.
I think just he wanted to see what just do it on your opponent's end step, I guess.
Or do it in response to the Sibling Rivalry he's just about to get.
So I'm not sure exactly what the why he milled exactly 3 cards and then didn't mill further on his turn, but he's gonna keep going here with the mill. So well, there's a Worm Coil.
No, that's why you don't.
Well,
he knew.
Well, this is the classic. Feel bad when you mill your bombs. Your deck is in a random order. You have just a chance. You have just a chance as milling the best card in your deck as you do the last card you would want to draw. Does Jordan have a way to sack this?
He does actually have a Power Stone Fracture in hand, which makes this devastating.
Okay, so Johnny's gonna kill this. Kill the Thraxodemon here.
It's gonna be brutal for Johnny.
Yeah, so Johnny's gonna lose. Looks like everything here. Yeah, he'll get a card out of it at the very least. So he's going to be able to do this, and then he can just safely attack in for 4 here. He can attack.
Jantron does have to be careful to not actually attack with the 3/3.
Well, actually, he could just he could just attack for 6 here, rather than sack is the 5/5. So yeah. So Johnny's got to feel like his explanation's getting sacrificed here. Jordan's way too good a player. Jordan's a way too good a player to just steal his creature in the middle of the game and attack him for 5 with it and give it back to him. So he does get a card, which is a land. All right, so here's a spider.
Okay.
The Thran spider. So this is something that you want an exclamation in play for, right?
Yes.
That would be,
It'd be much better. Unfortunately, he does still have the remorse in hand, so he will also be able to answer this one.
Yeah, overwhelming remorse. So he's going to remorse it, attack in for 4, and Johnny's going to need to top deck something great here.
And picks up Cinder Mother's turn.
And Jordan, with all the cards in hand, looks like he's about to close the game out. Well, we'll see what Johnny can find here. Yeah, so just another land. So that was a bit of an uneventful run there. Johnny could not find the right combination of cards there. And just that, the steal and sack, when you do it, it just feels like it's so powerful. When you get that steal and sack synergy, just feels like you're doing something much more powerful than your opponent can. And that's going to be our round 1 here. Congratulations to Jordan for taking it down. And we'll be back in a bit.
Players.
Yeah, absolutely. Very tightly played, and we'll be back shortly for our next match.